Thank you for attending Making Mealtime Memories. Our objectives for today are to discuss the best practices for feeding in the early childhood setting, to explore how your attitude towards food can influence the attitudes of the children. We're going to discuss the importance of role modeling, as well as consider connections with families for lasting change. I am Keitra Brooks. I'll be your presenter today, and I'd love to hear from you. So if I say anything that really kind of touches you or resonates with you and you want to share that, feel free to email me at klbrooks@uams.edu. And so that's if you have any questions or concerns, or even if you have something else you would like for us to present on, just shoot me an email and let me know what you thought about today's presentation. So why are we here? Let's get started with a really quick question. I have a poll here, and I want you guys to answer. I feel I have influence on the eating habits of the children that I serve. So you guys go ahead and answer that and let me know what you think. I see a lot of yeses coming in. All right. So, wow, everybody said yes, that they feel like you have an influence on the eating habits of the children that you serve. So that's really great. That you guys all feel that way. I just want to start off by saying that we recognize what you do to help your families, and these children spend a lot of the time, a lot of their time with you, and we have very little control over some of the things that take place in their lives, but we show up every day in hopes that our influence will be enough to make a difference. And so we know that you're here because you want to do the best job by creating happy, healthy children. The fact is, proper nutrition is crucial if we want children who are ready and able to learn. Healthy nutrition allows children to be their best. So if you feel that you may have struggles in the area of feeding practices, I'd like to offer a few tools that will help you to be the difference you desire to be. Despite how much we care about children, a review of 18 studies suggests that child care providers are failing to implement best practice and modeling appropriate healthy behaviors. For many children, child care serves as a home away from home and has the potential to positively influence their health. That comes from the University of North Carolina. So we've had teachers to tell us that their children eat mostly at home. And the truth is, many young children receive the majority of their meals in preschool or school settings. Young children spend many hours in child care, often over 30. In a full day child care, a child may eat breakfast, lunch, and a snack, and that can add up to over 500 meals and snacks per year in child care. Educators, like all adults in a child's life, are in a unique position to influence eating habits in young children. Lifelong eating habits are started in preschool years. In other words, children who eat healthy foods become adults who eat healthy foods. And we know that this statement is very true. So our job is to take advantage of the time we have with them and do our best to influence their lives. You, as child care providers, play an important role in keeping children healthy and forming healthy lifestyle habits. So let's talk about the motivation. And we know that motivation develops through positive experiences. So children's motivation to eat healthy foods develops through positive experiences, like I said. Children can become self-motivated when their natural curiosity is encouraged and supported. Children who are self-motivated tend to have better mental health and well-being than those who rely on being rewarded by others to feel good about themselves. Praise and rewards both motivate and demotivate children, depending on how they're used. So praise children for trying new or less preferred foods, But don't bribe or offer treats to encourage children to try new foods. It has been shown that performing worse than our peers on a particular task results in negative self esteem and poorer performance on the same task the next time around. Studies show that when preschoolers see that they have performed more poorly than a peer, even just one time, there are lasting negative consequences on behavior and self concept. So comparing children to their peers eating will not have a positive effect. Food neophobia is the fear of unknown or new foods. And I have another poll question I'd like to share with you guys, and I want you to go ahead and answer it. I'm getting it pulled up now. So, in your experience, how willing are children to try healthy foods? In your experience, how willing are children to try healthy foods? We're almost there. We need just a couple more people to vote. All right, so it says 77% of you guys feel like the children are willing, and 93% of you feel like they're coming around. So that's really good that no one said that they're not willing at all. Um, did you know that there was a word for kids who don't want to try new food? It's what you experience every day at mealtime. Yes, it's called food neophobia, the fear of unknown or new foods, and it usually happens between the ages of 2 and 6. Children are also more likely to prefer the sweet taste of foods and may find some vegetables unfavorable. As a result, they may refuse to or eat a limited variety of fruits and vegetables. Studies show that foods may have to be offered to children up to 10 times before they will even think about trying them. Emphasize trying new foods without pressuring children to like the new foods. And some children may also have a strong aversion to certain food textures, so that is something that should be considered as well. So let's change the stigma maybe that goes along with the terms of healthy and unhealthy foods. So, unhealthy foods are much more appealing to our senses, which causes us to crave them more. It's kind of like when you tell that kid, don't touch that because it's hot, but then they just really have to touch it just to see what's going to happen. So let's call healthier foods anytime foods, and let's call the unhealthier foods maybe once in a while foods. And we can help children understand this concept by encouraging them to choose healthier options anytime and unhealthier options once in a while. It even goes beyond that. Some parents are afraid to waste money buying food for picky eaters to experiment and try to eat. So if your program provides a place to learn and like healthy foods, parents will be more likely to buy it for home. So your words matter, and it's not just attitudes towards healthier foods or anytime foods. For the little ones, it's new foods that are more the issue. All right, so one more poll question, and we will be done with the polls, but I really want to get you guys' opinion on what we're talking about today. So tell me, were you pressured during meal times as a child? Those responses are coming in pretty fast. All right, so 44% of you guys said yes, and 56% of you guys said no. So kudos to the guys, or the 56% of you who were not pressured as children. But let's think back on our childhood. So did you have a parent like me who would not allow you to leave the table without finishing what was on your plate? How did that make you feel? Did you feel supported or pressured? And has that had any impact on your life today? I want you guys to send me a message in the chat and tell me. So those of you, the 44% who said yes, you were pressured. Do you still feel pressured now to like finish your plate? Like, is there a small voice in your head that says you have to finish it? Anybody? Anybody want to share? Yes, it's like I can't move from the table if I don't finish all of my food. There is, but a guilt there in the back of my head that tells me I'm wasting food. Yeah. I was never pressured. If I didn't eat what was on my plate, a natural consequence was that I would get hungry later. And that's really good that you were able to know that and associate that. Like, I have to eat to not be hungry. And that's one thing that we really want children to understand about themselves, is to be able to really pay attention to those hunger cues and know I'm eating because I'm hungry, and not I'm eating because it's in front of me, or that's what I feel like I need to do. Yeah, I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay. All right. So I think I saw all of those comments, and thank you guys for participating. And so, if you were forced to eat all of your food on your plate, we heard all types of reasons why as children. Like my mom's favorite was, there are children in Africa who are starving right now, or I don't have any money to waste on you on food, and the list goes on and on. Our parents didn't have ill intentions in wanting us to eat the food that was before us, but they were really going about it in the wrong ways and just didn't know it. To this day, my husband overeats because he was forced to eat every morsel of food that was put on his plate as a child. So in his mind now, he can't leave the table with food on his plate. And I see some of you other listeners they share the same sentiments with him. So how many of you guys have said this? I know all of us have probably said it. I know I'm guilty, but today we want to put an end to this statement. We want our children to eat. We want them to get enough healthy food in their bodies because we know how important that is for wellness. But we don't want our good intentions to lead us to push in the wrong ways, in ways that will result in refusals and power struggles from children. Encouraging children to make a happy plate does not teach them to listen to their body's cues for hungry and full. It only teaches them to do what you ask them to do in order to get praise. So when Johnny makes a happy plate and you say, "Yay, Johnny made a happy plate," you will get one of maybe two responses from the other children. One child may scarf down everything on his plate and wait for you to say it, whether he's full or not. And there may be another child who sits sadly because they won't get that praise because they just didn't like today's meal, or they're actually full and can't take another bite. So before removing plates or offering seconds, ask children if they are hungry or full in order to help children understand their feelings of hunger and fullness. It's best not to encourage children to clean their plates. So let's talk about a few statements we could use that are more supportive than "Yay, you made a happy plate." So instead of saying "Eat that for me," we could possibly say, "Will you try these with me?" Or what about, "If you don't eat one more bite, I'll be mad." We could say, "Oh, these radishes are very crunchy." "Oh, you're such a big girl. You finished all your peas." You could say, has your tummy had enough? Or, see, that didn't taste so bad, did it? And you could say, everybody likes different foods, don't they? Or, no dessert until you eat your veggies. We could say, we can try these veggies again another time. Next time, would you like to see them try them raw instead of cooked? So the statements to the right are more supportive and also help children understand their cues of am I hungry or have I had enough instead of pressuring them to eat the food that may be on their plate. So human nature causes us to respond best when the tone is supportive and we feel uncomfortable and retreat or push back when there's too much pressure. So we want to take all of the pressure out of mealtime and make sure we're using supportive statements. So our next topic that we're going to talk about is slow down, please. We know that some children eat slower than others or need more time to explore new foods. So some of the ways we may rush children are by using promises like no recess or promises of reward like earlier recess. It's best practice to build enough time into daily schedules to make mealtime a relaxed time. Remember, the children in our programs are little people. We wouldn't use threats with our spouse and possibly our own children, so we don't want to do these things with the children in our programs either. In many programs, the tradition of mealtime, especially if you're able to serve family-style meals, is for everybody to wash their hands together, say grace together, sing a song together, and then all eat together. Now, while there isn't anything wrong with having a set routine for mealtime, let's remember we want to meet the needs of every eater. One way to modify this is to allow slower eaters to eat before everyone else. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should interrupt your routine, but you can allow slower eaters to begin serving themselves and eating as soon as they're seated. Just think about all of the time that they can get back if they're allowed to do so. We realize how hard it is to do what you do. So let me just stop right here and say we do realize that. We've talked to teachers across the state who have expressed challenges, and we sympathize with you and want to help equip you with the tools that you need to pull off a successful mealtime every day. You're an expert at classroom management, even more so than I am. And so you would want to apply the same principles to mealtime as you do other parts of the day. Maya Angelou says, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And that's all we want is better for you and the children that you serve on a daily basis. So, while it's understandable that every program can't offer family-style meals, there are things that you can do to still create the relaxed and inclusive environment that works best for children. Large cafeterias often provide table and seating heights and arrangements that are inappropriate for preschoolers, and opportunities for teachers to extend children's learning are lessened in large, noisy environments. And so teachers have told us that in their program they can't do family-style meals, but here are a few things that they can do to extend the children's learning. So you can sit with the children and focus on those children who are nearby, especially if you're in a large and noisy cafeteria setting. You can also move seats a few times during the meal and consider taking turns sitting by different students each day. You can also serve your place first, just in case you're worried about the germs from the children. And serving your plate could also be a great way to show how to make a healthy plate. And some programs don't allow teachers to eat what the children eat. So maybe you could discuss the menu before lunch and point out foods that may be familiar to the children. And you can also allow the children to point out their favorite parts of the meal. Teachers have also told us that they feel encouraging children to talk at the table is encouraging them to have bad manners. Mealtime is a time of discovery, and as children discover their foods, it is a wonderful concept to discuss and process what they are learning. Now, maybe you want to offer a few tips, like don't take a bite and then talk immediately. Make sure when you talk, you have processed all of the food that you put in your mouth, so that children aren't spitting food everywhere as they're talking. So those might be tips or conversations that you will want to have from the table from the children, but we definitely don't want to discourage them to not talk at the table. So a few tips for serving family style meals. If you are able to do family style meals, these tips will help you do it successfully. So your program should provide appropriate items such as colorful serving bowls and child-sized dinnerware. You may even consider letting the children pick wildflowers from the playground to serve as a centerpiece. Place in serving bowls and plates and dishes and put the beverage and the pitchers on the table. The children and adults sit and eat together, and the children also serve themselves with the assistance of adults. All cups, plates, forks, serving bowls, and other utensils should be child-sized. And also show the children how to set the table and then have them take turns doing it. Show them where the plate, cup, bowl, or fork should be placed. They can also practice setting the table during playtime. So you could be a good role model and sit with the children to encourage them to try new food and encourage them to try food by asking children what the food tastes like, such as sweet or salty. A taste test is a great way to introduce children to the concepts of sour, salty, sweet, and bitter. We always want to be sure that we create a relaxed environment. So be an enthusiastic role model for eating healthy foods to children during meals and snacks. Avoid eating or drinking unhealthy foods in front of the children. And when an adult shares a meal or snack with the children, it becomes more calm and relaxed. Conflicts are lessened, and everyone enjoys a pleasant eating experience. Just as you would want them to share something that happened to them over the weekend, share that same enthusiasm to hear about their new food discovery. The first thing you could do is set the tone. Maybe you could sing a song to transition from the previous activity to your mealtime. You could also make vegetable soup and call the children individually to wash their hands and go to the table. And as you call their name, they can yell out what they want to contribute to the day's imaginary soup. And then that just opens another window of opportunities to have conversations about those anytime foods and those once in a while foods. Also, your meal schedules. As a teacher, you may not have as much control over the amount of times you have for meals, but you could do your best at making meal times as unhurried and relaxed as possible. Allow children time to explore and discuss their meals at the table with you. Also, feeding style. You being there with them will help you easily offer individual help, direct conversation, and role model good manners and eating behaviors. I know this seems like a perfect time to catch up on paperwork or other tasks that may be lingering in your classroom, but make a conscious effort to be present and active during mealtime. We want to not use reward and punishment. Again, never food should not be used as reward or punishment. It's best to always encourage children to try foods and listen to their bodies hungry and full of cues. And then be present and active, even if there are other support staff to help you. If you aren't able to sit with the children at mealtimes, you are in control of the transition. You should use your power to make it happen. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And that's from Margaret Mead. And I just want to end by saying, just relax and do what you know to do. You'll have a lasting impact on the child's life forever. And so I want to say thanks for attending today's webinar. We will offer more webinars like this one, so please stay tuned for more information coming to your inbox soon. Again, if you have any questions, you can contact me at klbrooks@UAMS. Don't forget to go ahead and download those handouts to use. They're great resources to use for your classroom. And also, when you get your follow-up email, it should come about an hour after today's training. There will be a link for you to complete an evaluation, and that's how we'll get your PDR number to give you PDR credit for watching today. And also, there are 2 links to 2 videos that I found that are really great examples on how to implement family-style meals into your daily routine. So I hope all of those things are helpful for you, and I really would like to know what you thought about today's session and also what you thought about those resources that we shared with you. All right, thanks for coming again. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.